Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 131 of Be With Me. You're not going to like this podcast. This podcast is going to make you angry. And being here and being with me morning after morning requires great courage, because we're going to ask a question today. Do you have a problem? Do I have a problem with my tongue and my anger? And will you be left with a little throw up in your mouth after this podcast? Answer, yes, you will. Here we go. We're in the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus is teaching, and he says in Mt5, 21, "You have heard that it was said to those of old, 'You shall not murder,' and whoever murders will be liable to judgment." So let me just stop there for a second. So we're all like, well, I haven't done that. I've never murdered anybody, so I'm good. So all is well. I don't have to listen any further. But then Jesus says, "But I say to you," oh no, "that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council. And whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to the hell of fire." So just 2 verses today, but they're just brutal. Verse 21, hey, I haven't murdered anybody, so I'm good, right? And then the big change, "But I say to you," and here we see Jesus embracing the mantle of authority, and I'm spelling it at AUTHOR-ITY. That is, he is the author. He's the author of the Old Testament. He's the author of the 10 Commandments, Exodus chapter 20. And now he's telling us what that means. So for thousands of years, we've thought, well, I haven't taken a knife to somebody's throat with no reason or no good reason. So I haven't murdered anybody. So I'm sitting here snug as a bug saying, hey, that's not me. What a relief. I got this. I'm good. I'm okay. I have fulfilled righteousness. But then he says the first word, but I say to you. So he is reinterpreting. He is giving, not reinterpreting, he's interpreting it perfectly, not changing it. We should have been doing this all along. And then he says that if you're angry, and he says this 3 different ways: if you're angry, if you insult, and if you say, "You fool." And then he says you're liable is always in there. So let me just talk about the liability for just a second. This liability is saying that something is due, that we are liable to judgment, that we're guilty, we're judicially rightly accused when we say we're liable. That is, that an answer is going to be required. It's like, oh no, for my anger, for my insults, for my saying things when people drive, drive badly even. I mean, it's just ridiculous how far we can go with this. So he says anger and raka, which is verbal abuse or name calling. He says that every way but Tuesday, that we're not supposed to miss. We are not supposed to be angry people. And so we say, hey, wait, that's just the way I am. But no, he says there's going to be a judgment. We have to answer for this, and even answer to the fires of hell. It's like, oh my goodness. So the point is that the judgment is going to be above our pay grade, that some entity is literally tasked with our punishment and our judgment. And it involves fire and liability and judgment. And at a certain point, we will be powerless to fix this. So it gets our attention that we really need to fix it now. So it's so practical today that there is a judgment, there is a liability, and we are going to have to answer for our anger. And so we need to be careful with our words, kind with our words. Just the story, I was having words with somebody, and I was telling another friend about that, and they asked a question about my words, and he said, "Were they sharp?" ? Were the words sharp? And I'm like, of course they were sharp. That was the whole point of having words from somebody, and just the guilt ran through. So keep in mind that I understand that only God can change the heart, that out of the heart the mouth speaks. And who of us can stand today without our hand over our mouth, and without our hand over our heart, and with our hand in the cookie jar of guilt here? We have the burden of liability to this judgment, this hell, this counsel. And Jesus here, by his authorship, has lowered the bar so far that none of us can get by this. I would never do that. It used to be I would never murder somebody. And now the answer is, wait, I anger all the time. I do that all the time. And so I think the response is not, I could never do this. This is just the way I am. Hey, I've always been like this. My family's always like this. I'll never change. I think what the Lord is asking is saying, wants us to say, I am like that, and I shouldn't be murdering people in my car and in my work and in my home. It's not okay. I do have a problem. We got to go from I don't have a problem and I don't need to change to, hey, I do have a problem and I do need to change. There's a certain point, and this is the threat of the passage, is you will be powerless. There will be a judgment coming, but we do have power now. So the charge is, let's make today an angerless, verbally pure day. I want to leave you with one verse from Proverbs 15. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So Lord, help me to see it, help me to hear it, help me to look at it soberly, help me to condemn it now, help me to change my heart, help me to change my tongue. I charge all you people who are listening, thank you for listening, thanks for the courage to listen today, that go and have an angerless day. May your day be full of gentle answers and kind words.